And you're welcome back. Let's take you elsewhere. Germany is discussing this week how to better help citizens who are in trouble because of high inflation and rising energy prices. Some of the policies already in place, like the well-known €9 ticket, a highly reduced nationwide transport ticket, and this month. And there's a lot of debate about what next could come. So let's get more on this. First of all, Thomas Sparrow has joined us to give us a breakdown of this. First of all, Thomas, help us with this. How is Germany preparing to help its citizens in need?
There have already been certain measures put in place, including the very well received €9 ticket, reduced ticket that people can use to travel around the country. But those measures end at the end of August. So there's a lot of discussion now in the country as to what could come next. The government is planning a so-called relief package, but unlike previous measures which favoured or which benefited the entire population, new proposals are focused mostly on those that have been mostly affected by the current crisis. Not only the increase in energy costs, but also rising inflation. So basically focused on those that are poorest here in society. That also has to do with concerns here in Germany that the gap between rich and poor could be widening, that there could even be potentially social unrest if people cannot ultimately pay their bills. So a very, very difficult discussion here in the country. There's still no concrete decision as to what comes after these measures that end in August. For now, it's simply discussions. The government, as I stressed, is planning this so-called relief package.
And there's this constant inquiry as to how popular some of these measures are.
It depends on the measure. So, for example, a reduction in the tax fuel that was also part of those 3-month measures was highly criticized by people who believed it mostly benefited gas companies or petrol companies instead of ultimately consumers. On the other hand, the €9 transport ticket was bought in the first month by over 21 million people, not only Germans, but also tourists who visit the country during the summer months. And it has been described as very popular and very effective. There are discussions as to whether it had an impact, for example, on Germany's climate goals, or whether it affected in any way trains that were overcrowded or routes that had to be stopped. But in general, it was seen as something popular and effective. The question whether it will continue is a big one, because some in Germany's government believe that it is not necessarily the best way forward to give those kinds of reductions, sort of basically a freebie mentality as it's being described, and that other measures should be implemented instead.
So tell us about this. So how concerned are citizens about their economic situation there?
They are obviously concerned about their economic situation, especially in the medium to long term. So recent polls have revealed that Germans believe that now their current situation from an economic point of view, from their household point of view, is still good. But they are concerned about what might happen in a few months or even in a year's time. A majority, for example, stress that they are certainly concerned about the possibility of their economic situation being worse in a year's time. And that also has to do with this increase in prices, with something that Germans see on a day-to-day basis, with inflation that is also particularly high in this country. And that's why they're obviously waiting for the measures that will be implemented. There's a discussion as to whether the measures should benefit all, like the €9 ticket or the fuel tax, or whether they should only benefit those who are mostly affected by the current situation. And those issues reflect simply the concerns that many in this country have.
Thomas Sparrow's partners, TW, I'm grateful for your time. Let's